Welcome back, guys. We are here with the Tier 10 Dutch Premium Destroyer, the Tromp. The Tromp is... I'm just gonna get cut to the chase. Tromp is an S tier destroyer. I'm just gonna cut to the chase. There's no way around it. S tier destroyer. As you can see, I am on the glorious press account provided by Wargaming. If you do want to add me, this is the name of the account, and that is the player ID. I have had an amazing time playing the Tromp myself. It has been an absolute joy to play. It's in the shop right now. I think it's still in a crate. Yes, it's still in the crate for an NA. But it's by the time this comes out, it'll tomorrow or whenever this releases. There won't be much time left, so I'm gonna try to make this video as soon as possible. I got the press account recently, and I got started recording gameplay for the Tromp. So trying to figure this out. Either way, let's get straight into it. This is Tromp. We have 23,353 HP. This is on the higher end, but also, you know, this is not like Ragnar per se. Like if we compare Ragnar's 26k. If we get to where is it? Elding, 27k. Like these are higher HP destroyers. I mean, Elding's more of a cruiser, but you get the point. Tromp was also historically a light cruiser, but it's a DD. We're not gonna get into it. You have a decent HP pool. Agility wise, yeah, no, it's just not really there. The agility isn't really there. The base speed is garbage. I'm gonna be flat out. I'm gonna say a lot of good things about this ship, but the biggest downside is probably the speed. You don't have speed. Your acceleration relative to your speed is also pretty garbage. I mean, if we look at Colbert has slightly worse acceleration on paper, but Colbert has to reach 12 knots faster max speed. So Colbert's acceleration relative to its speed is quite good. This thing's the complete opposite. Your turning's okay. Almost 9-degree max reverse speed's not actually that bad. The turn time is not great, but it's not the worst either. There's worse DDs, but it's definitely not great either. Agility's not there. What is there is the guns. These are 3x2, so 6 150mm guns. I don't think these are dual purpose. They reload in 4.5 seconds. They have just under a 10.7 kilometer gun range. They are some amazing guns. These are truly special guns. Very nice arcs. They're not very fat. They're not very floaty. They're decently flat. Very simple to use guns. The HE is quite good. You do almost 500 HE damage. The fire chance is stellar on this ship. 6%. Only Ragnar beats you out on fire chance for DDs, so you have very good HE fire chance. AP is not an Elbing, but what is there is pretty good. Don't sleep on the AP. The AP can't slap people. The Torps. There are Torps. No, they are not center lined. If you see, these are not center line Torps. If I can show this. These are not center line. There's one here. I can do this. Okay, I can't. There's one here. And there's one here. That's it. That's your Torps. So automatically not the best Torp layout for a 6 Torp destroyer. You know, they do decent damage. They have a pretty good range. They actually go quite fast, 70 knots. There's nothing to sleep at. But the flood chance is just kind of mediocre. And, you know, there's not many of them. They do reload very quickly, though. So you can kind of just spam them out. You just kind of send them out. Like, they exist for two purposes. A, they're just extra damage points. They're not really like your main focus. And B, they kind of prevent a DD from rushing you mindlessly, because you actually have a way to defend yourself. So, yeah, that's the Torps. Nothing special here. Probably some of the weakest Torps at the tier. So, your AA situation. This is probably the most troll AA I've seen in this game, is from what I remember. The thing about Tromp AA is that Tromp AA is not bad. The problem is not what's there. The problem is what's not there. What's there is great. You have small caliber AA 271. You have a small caliber AA range of 3 kilometers. That's amazing. That's amazing small caliber AA stats. The problem is what's missing, which is the large caliber. So you basically just have, like, basically just small and AA, large small caliber AA. You're just missing the large caliber. You get to the DFA skills. So you do have DFA 3. Which, you know, triples the small caliber AA. So you do about a little under 900 small caliber AA damage, which is pretty good. So the planes, they can get to you. The thing about Tromp AA is that you are very vulnerable to the CV because they can get to you and they can kill you. That's just CV gameplay. But the planes probably won't make it back so long as you survive and have DFA going. So it's very troll AA because you have, technically speaking, some of the best AA of all destroyers, only being by the EU ones. The problem is that your AA isn't very effective against stopping the planes, unless they spin circles above you, which is unlikely. What is criminal about the ship is its detection. You have the same concealment as Daring. It's exactly the same. On a ship, I'm going to use Vampire for reference, even though it's better concealment. On a ship that is noticeably a lot larger than the actual Daring class destroyers. What this means is that you can get away with a lot of dumb stuff in the ship. I.e., you can get into someone's face very easily in the ship, and you have 150mm guns. So as long as it's not a direct gunboat destroyer, or they are distracted, you can get away with a lot of dumb stuff for a destroyer this big. It also means that you have a kind of a really good buffer zone between your slow speed and your pretty good concealments. So you actually can kind of make up for your slow speed with this, but not really. We'll get more into the speed situation later. Now, the bread and the butter of the Tromp and all Dutch ships, basically, starting from tier 6, are these airstrikes. Now, if we look at Golden Lion, I'm running leg mod, so this is the best of the best Golden Lion airstrikes you can probably ever get in the game. Golden Lion airstrikes. Well, the leg mod, they have 3. They have a lot of planes, a lot of bombs, and they hit like a pretty big bus when they decide to hit. Trump kind of flips that whole idea around on its head. You actually have less planes, but you still have a good amount of bombs. You're still dropping 48 bombs, assuming all your planes survive. The planes are still just as tanky, except you'll notice something. The damage has basically just been halved. The fire chance has also just been halved. And you have slightly less airstrike range, but that's not really a downside, because it's just good concealment. I may be wondering, if this is what the Tromp's airstrikes are like, is this not a downside? And that may be true on the first look. The thing is, Tromp makes up for pretty much all the downsides by having a 36-second airstrike reload. The only Dutch ship with faster airstrike reload is DZP at tier 8. And we know what DZP at tier 8 could do with its airstrikes. You can now imagine larger DZP airstrikes at tier 10 now, with a very similar reload. That right there is what makes Tromps insanely strong. These airstrikes are insane to use. It is not even close. These are by far some of the best airstrikes in the game. The only ship that can come close in terms of how strong its actual airstrike is relative to the tier is probably DZP itself. these are some insanely strong airstrikes. They don't have good alpha, but you spam them so much in a game that it's too much for anybody to handle. It's way too much airstrike damage. You don't have the best fire chance, but again, you're spamming these so much, and you have really good HE, and you have torps to throw out. So you basically just have infinite fire flood damage in this ship. Yeah, no, this ship's got crazy damage output. As for the skills, I already mentioned the DFA. You obviously have airstrike. You have engine boost level 2. So while technically speaking, this is the slowest space speed destroyer, it's technically speaking not the slowest overall destroyer. That would actually go to daring. This ship, with speed boost goes a little bit under Holland speed, but once it's off, you have no speed. So occasionally you can escape problems, but not often can you. So you have to be very, very careful with how you play with the ship speed, because you really don't have a lot to play with. But also, it's a no-smoke destroyer, so that also comes with its own issues of it's very easy to rush it down with a cruiser if it gets to jump. It's very easy to focus it down if it's exposed or overexposed. That also doesn't help that you're slow, so if you overexpose yourself, you're very easy to die. It's very easy to die in the ship. As for the camos, there are 2 camos. There is the standard historical, and there's the Royal Netherlands Navy. Now, personally, this camo in this port is all I need in my life. But it is a beautiful looking camo, and especially in this port, it looks very nice. The differences: ship HP points, main battery firing range. Well, I guess that wouldn't be a difference, but these are just the general characteristics. The only difference is the airstrike bomber HP and the ship HP. Why am I using historical? It gives you torp range, and it gives you max chivalry speed. Now, this camo isn't bad. It still gives you surface detection and gun range, which is really the most important parts, fundamentally. But you don't really need more. I mean, realistically, if we look at this ship right now, you have what, 2,481 airstrike bomber HP, 4% more. You get what, like 100 more health. If there's a ship with decent AA, they're still gonna shoot the planes down. Like, it really doesn't make a difference. You gain about what? How much HP do you gain? Like 900 more HP. If you plan to 1v1 a lot of DDs, this would be the better camo. But to help the general characteristics, you kind of want to just run this because A, it gives you more mobility, which obviously helps, and it gives you more torp range, which means you have more range to play with your torps. So this is the better camo, even though this does look a lot better. Battle honor is pretty simple. Play 10 games, set 50 fires. You'll get this done in like 20 games in this ship. As for my build, I am running standard destroyer supplies, high grade coal, improved crew rations, refined diesel. The equipment I'm running, again, very standard destroyer build here. Reload mod, acceleration, concealment. You really need this, and you especially need this on this ship. A, your mobility is bad. Your turning is okay enough, and honestly, you never will need this in a destroyer. So just run this. This is just the most optimal. You don't need turret traverse, mainly because for my elite bonus, I'm taking the turret. Okay, well, I mean, you don't need to take the turret traverse elite bonus, but honestly, the elite bonuses for the ship suck bum. I mean, the previously is 15 degrees, which is already more than enough, to be honest with you. And you don't have 360 turrets anyways, so it's kind of like whatever. But you don't also need 3% more torp damage on the low torp damage already is kind of redundant. But like at the same time, it also doesn't hurt you to run this because you're still technically buffing your DPM. It's kind of personal. I mean, it really doesn't matter. The difference is going to be so marginal that it really doesn't matter. As for the commander build I'm running emergency response, standard on a destroyer. You don't have sonar. You could take a 4th DFA if you really felt like it. This is an AA ship. Just take the torpedo alert. You're already clumsy and you don't have sonar, so you really need this. Third slot, take whatever you want in third slot. For all I care. I don't mean that in a rude way. This ship really doesn't know what it wants to pick for the third slot. You could take this. Well, not this. You could take this if you wanted to. It doesn't hurt, but it also doesn't really do much. You could take this. Again, doesn't really do much on destroyers. But this also really doesn't do much on this ship because you're not really fast. You barely gain a knot of speed. I only take this to position because positioning is very important in the ship. In the early game, because you can't reposition, so repositioning yourself is pretty important. So I like this personally, but honestly, the other two options are perfectly fine for the ship. I'm taking this because, you know, if it didn't have a DFA 3, I probably would have just taken Victorious Charge. But because it does have a DFA 3, and you do occasionally get clear skies in this ship, I'm just taking it. But honestly, it's Victorious Charge would be just fine. I'm taking Daredevil to help with the agility. You don't have a smoke, so you're pretty vulnerable once you get low. And any bit of agility I can get in this ship is pretty important. I mean, you could take healing because it does have a decent HP pool, but it's not a Ragnar where it has 4 heals. It's not a Druid where it has amazing heals, or a Lucian. So personally, this makes sense for me to run Survivalist. So I personally run Daredevil to get more agility out of this. I take Generalist because this doesn't really do much for me, because I mean, maybe if I'm not gonna go too easy to the nitty-gritty of exploit weakness. If it's stacked, so 1 fire plus 1%, 2 fires plus 2%, 3 fires plus 3%. If it was like Honor Seeker, then this would be a very, very strong skill. But it's not, so I'd rather just take this for more HP. Fully prepared because nothing else makes sense. AR, because again, nothing else really makes sense here. You have a speed boost. You need to maximize your speed boost because you are very slow. Any speed you can gain is very valuable. Honor Seeker, because again, you can't really take anything else. APCS is standard on everything pretty much, unless you don't have AP. So, and also the AP is pretty good, so you don't want to sleep on it. It does pan cruises pretty well. And you just, for as low as your torp damage is, it's the only thing that really makes sense here. I'm not running Legendary Commander. Despite the fact that I really love this ship, I'm not running Legendary Commander, because the only thing the Reuter would actually help you with is this, which you don't even have the strongest AA, and this, which doesn't really do much from normal Honor Seeker. So, yeah. The Reuter is pretty weak, let alone for this ship. He barely even buffs the normal line, again, let alone the destroyers. So, normal commander will do fine. So, that is the first part of the Tromp. That is the general overview. Again, how to rate it? This is a net series short. Everything compiled creates such a good package, and I highly, highly recommend this ship to anybody who is looking for a Dutch ship that has actually good airstrikes, unlike the Golden Line, and actually has a lot of game influence. The ship has a crazy amount of influence as long as you know what you're doing. It kind of draws the line between easy and like hard, because it's easy in the sense that it's very easy to get fires. It's very easy to play in the sense that it's easier than the Golden Lion. But it's also hard in the sense that you're slow. So, you gotta take that into account. But we will now get into the gameplay. And here we are with the gameplay. Didn't get the beginning screen, but you can briefly saw 2 BBs, 2 cruisers, 2 DDs, and an aircraft carrier. Not the greatest matchmaking, but also not the worst. Just 2 battleships. This is an amazing map for Tromp. Sleeping Giant new map. Spawning on seaside on the far side. I'm just kind of, you know, sending torps in. Some again, they reload so quickly that it doesn't even hurt to send them out like this. Just kind of deter them from pushing in. Using that airstrike already, try to hit this buffalo a little bit. It could have been a better strike on my part. Get like one bomb, a couple bomb hits. I thought this warp was gonna hit Gearing. I didn't realize Gearing was gonna accelerate this. He does just so close. He was so close hitting that torp. But you can see I'm positioning myself in a way where I can run away immediately, and I can still get good damage on this Gearing. I have good angles on him. You see we're chunking this Gearing for like 3k every salvo. Like the AP you can't mess around with on this ship. It does chunk when it hits DDs. So we pretty much out trade this Gearing immediately. But Buffalo does hit us pretty hard. So it's not the best trade, but still not the worst. Again, sending more torps in because again they reload so fast that it doesn't hurt. Now at this moment, I thought the CV was gonna go for me. So I was ready to run because I didn't want to sit here eating CV bombs and then getting cross shot by Buffalo. So I'm just leaving the premises. One bomb is going to go for me, but the rest don't go for me, luckily, so not the worst. You can see the AA doesn't really do much to stop it, even against Manfred. But I see the battleships. I'm positioning myself in a central position where I can get to the battleships. GK is not really pushing in too fast. Vermont, though, he is pushing in a pretty bad spot to deal with Tromp. I send in the first airstrike to bait the AA of Vermont, and the second one, so that by the time the second one gets there, Vermont AA can't really stop it. Hayate is dead at this point. I don't even need to worry about him. Get 13 bomb hits, 1 fire. 22 bomb hits combined. Yeah, no, this is... this guy's already having a bad day. We're already on 30k. There's still 4.5 minutes left. Not the best start I've ever had in this ship. I use auto lock off because I'm trying to hit the deck to get the most fire, keep most of my fire chance. I see GK. I'm actually doing something that you can do in Dutch ships pretty often, where you send one airstrike there while you're sending someone else on fire. So you can pretty much do damage at the same time against 2 different ships. GK doesn't really have good AA. Perma-fire on Vermont. Airstrike's about to land on GK. 1 fire on GK. I look at my left. GK damage controls. That's when I know that I'm ready for the airstrikes. I'm still trying to set this Vermont on another fire because I know Des Moines is gonna die. Another perma-fire on Vermont. This GK, I see he's gonna turn. I'm waiting to see which way he's going. You can see I'm still zooming in and out constantly. I'm looking at GK, he's turning out. I'm predicting torps on the GK. This is pretty much pinpoint the Tromp gameplay here. I'm at 50k here. I'm predicting GK is gonna land into these bombs because he's turning out. I'm still trying to set this Vermont on fire. Vermont shoots at me. I make a pretty bad dodge here. I eat a lot of damage. Well, not that much damage, but it was still substantial. Perma float on GK. No fires right now, but that float's still going to take a lot of damage on this GK. Speed boosting, trying to speed juke, trying to get perma fires on this GK. This is a very fast-paced game. Mainly because I'm doing a lot of things at the same time. Still trying to hit that deck. Perma fire on GK now. We're at 84k with 3 minutes. We just did like 40k in the span of like, I don't even know, like 40 seconds. At this point, I have no heals, and I'm on like 6k HP by the time this heal is done. Not the most optimal position to be in Tromp, but we got the airstrikes off. More bomb damage, no fire, unfortunately. At this point, I'm just like, okay, I have no heals, I have 1 speed boost. I had to play this slow. 3 more torpedoes on GK. Again, you just see him sending these out. I'm at 103,000 with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. This is why the ship is S tier. If the moment you get to deal with the battleships, it's pretty much game over for these guys. I'm just sending an airstrike just to kill GK. I don't even need to shoot my guns. I'm in a very good position at this point. I repositioned to a point where I can, you know, stay stealth. Don't have to worry about the CV. CV's preoccupied to kill GK. Again, I just sent the torps out because there's no reason not to. I was debating if I should turn around and send the other set, but I'm like, I need to get back to the other battle. Because if my DD does die and my CV dies, we're going to be in a pretty bad spot. So I need to get this guy up as fast as possible. So I use the last speed boost I have. Look at this Vermont, still not shooting. Then he takes a huge chunk of damage from the battleship. He eats 1 torp, insta-floods. But he does damage control, so I do have to eventually shoot at him. And I know he's shot, so I can just keep on shooting at him pretty much free with no consequence. Our CV does die as I predicted. We kill that guy. I see Manfred in the distance. I don't know if my small one will survive. So at this point, I'm pretty much just making a beeline for seeds to see if I can get hits on the Manfred. Still, there's still like a foolish buffalo chilling out there in the distance. My small one is out there. At this point, once I realized my small one was healthy, again, you see me just sending towards. At this point, you see my small one is healthy. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm assessing the situation. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get behind the island so buffalo can hit me. I'm gonna try to get some extra damage from the CV. to pretty much secure that the small one gets the kill. I'm trying to kill the planes right now above me so I don't get spotted anymore, but I mean, at this point, Manfred's dead, right? He's behind a rock, he's dealing with Smallland, Tromp coming up behind him. I have 2 airstrikes ready for him. At this point, I'm like, I just gotta full send for the damage, because I'm trying to get as much damage as possible. I'm just full sending. And that is a very dead Manfred round for Rick Tolton. There he goes, Buffalo is still out there. I send the other set of torps because again, they reload very quickly and they're so fast. I'm still stealth at this point. I'm turning around to get the guns because it'll be faster to turn the ship around than to get the guns around. 21 seconds. I'm just gonna keep sending as much as I can. I'm gonna get a few extra more torpedoes on this Buffalo. I only have just enough time for 1 airstrike drop, so I'm just like, I have no time to aim. I'm just gonna full send it. Unfortunately, he turns full right. For some very strange reason, he turns full right. I don't know why he turned this far out. We get 132,000 damage in the Tromp. Not my best game, but it is probably one of the better games I've recorded. This is expert Tromp gameplay, right? This is the perfect way to farm, perfect way to deal with the match. 114 bomb hits, 42k bomb damage, crazy amounts of bomb damage. Crazy game influence. That is definitively how you play the Tromp. That is certainly a lot of packages with the fires they were damage controlling. But that is what some of the best Tromp gameplay you could probably get in ideal matchmaking. CV doesn't really go for you. BBs are pushing into you. Very good map as well. Again, it does get pretty fast paced. At least with what I was doing, I was trying to multitask a lot of things. Farm the GK, farm the Vermont, try to get the cap, try to not die. It's kind of like the fun part of Tromp is that there's kind of this aspect of you need to know how to multitask yourself and manage yourself because you're not really meant to be focusing on one thing. If you want to maximize the Tromp, you need to focus on a few things at once, pretty much. Almost like a CV, but not really. I don't want to compare it to a CV because there's a lot of nuances that are different. But yeah, that is the Tromp. I forgot to mention this. My stats in the Tromp, for anyone interested. My stats in the Tromp are over 100k average in the Tromp after like 10 plus games. Tromp is an amazing ship for Tromp is an amazing ship for many things. Game influence, average damage, and just winning the game. It is an amazing destroyer for all those things. The way it does it is very unique from other destroyers, as you can see. There is really no other destroyer. Well, okay, there may well, I don't want to say other because there probably is. Gdansk. That can get away with the influence I had there. You know, the fires, the floods, you know, just all of it combined. It kind of elapsed into this beautiful package called Tromp. If you're looking to get it, I would highly recommend getting it. Very enjoyable ship. I think it is definitely worth the time, the money. If you get it, I wouldn't wail all the way if you don't get it after like multiple temples. Because I know for most people at that point it's not really worth it. But if you can get it early, we'll definitely recommend it. Go and do some temples for it. But it is still great though, so you know, do with that information what you will. And yeah, that is the Tromp, the tier 10 premium Dutch destroyer, and that'll be it. I will try to make a Z42 video, hopefully a Gdansk video. I look very forward to showing off Gdansk, and I look very forward to playing the ship. So yeah, that'll be it for me. I'll be signing out.